This is the Demon. 840 horsepower. To put that number somewhere real, in 2018, that was more horsepower than a McLaren 720S. More than a Lamborghini Aventador. And it came not from a hand-built supercar, but from a Dodge, with cup holders, a warranty, and a back seat you could delete for $1. It was, in the most literal sense, too fast to live. Drag racing banned it before a single customer took delivery. And 5 years later, the company that built it killed it, on purpose, and bet everything on the exact opposite. That bet is falling apart right now. This is the story of the fastest production car America ever built, and why it had to die twice. Start with the problem the Demon was built to solve. Because everything strange about it follows from one goal. Cover a quarter mile faster than any street-legal car ever had. So how do you make 840 horsepower streetable? You supercharge it, bolt on a belt-driven pump that force-feeds air into the engine. More air, more fuel, more power. Dodge's supercharger moved 2.7 litres of air per revolution, feeding a 6.2-litre Hemi V8. But there's a catch, and this is where it gets clever. Compressing air heats it up, and hot air is thin air, fewer oxygen molecules in the same space, which means less to burn. So the Demon fought its own supercharger with a trick no production car had used before. It rerouted the car's air conditioning. The refrigerant that would normally cool the cabin was piped to the intake instead, chilling the incoming air by up to 45 degrees. Colder air is denser air. Denser air is more power. The Demon was, in effect, running its own engine through a refrigerator. Then came the launch. A drag car lives or dies in its first second, and traction is everything. So Dodge fitted street-legal drag radials from the factory, tires so specialized the car shipped with a warning not to drive them in the rain. And it added a trans brake, a first on a production car, that locks the driveline so the engine can build boost against the brakes, like drawing a bow before you fire it, then release all of it at once. The result read like a dare, 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds, quicker than a Bugatti Veyron. A quarter mile in 9.65, and the front wheels didn't just squat under that launch, they left the ground. Guinness certified it, the first production car to pull a wheelie off the line. That last part is what killed it. The National Hot Rod Association has a rule. Anything running the quarter quicker than 9.99 seconds needs a roll cage and a parachute to compete. The Demon did it stock, on a dealer lot, with a stereo. So the NHRA effectively banned it from sanctioned tracks, and Dodge printed that ban on the marketing like a medal. Then it built exactly 3,300 of them, sold them in a single model year, and walked away. That scarcity looked like confidence. Proof Dodge could still do this when no one else would. It wasn't confidence, it was a countdown. The Demon didn't fade out. Dodge scheduled its funeral and sold tickets. In 2023, the company announced that the Hemi-powered Challenger and Charger, 15 years of muscle, were ending to clear the way for electric. It marked the occasion with 7 last-call special editions. The 7th and final one was another Demon. The 2023 Demon 170 made 1,025 horsepower on ethanol, 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds, which at the time made it the quickest accelerating production car in the world, ahead of every hypercar with 3 times the price tag. It ran the quarter in 8.91 seconds, the first street-legal car ever built in a factory to break into the 8-second range. Notice the pattern Dodge was drawing: 707 horsepower in 2015, 840 in 2018, 1,025 to close the book. The company's own brand chief called it the end of the Hemi muscle car era. Sit with how strange that is. The most powerful car a company had ever built was designed to be a headstone. And the official reason, emissions, electrification, the future, was true, but most likely not the whole story. The simpler read is that Dodge was betting the people who bought Demons would follow it anywhere, even into silence. They would not. The replacement was the Charger Daytona, an electric muscle car making up to 670 horsepower, with a fake engine noise pumped through speakers, an artificial V8 growl for a car that had no V8. The people Dodge built the Demon for looked at it and left. The numbers are not subtle. In all of 2025, Dodge sold roughly 7,400 Chargers. In 2023, the last full year of the Hemi cars, it sold about 76,000 Chargers and another 45,000 Challengers. The cheapest electric version sat on lots under discounts north of $25,000, and Dodge quietly cut it for 2026. Then, the clearest signal of all. The quarter Dodge finally put a gas engine back in the Charger. The gas version's sales rose 404%, while the electric versions fell 88%. Same car, same showroom, opposite verdicts. The customers Dodge had stopped listening to were still there. They'd just switched from talking to voting, with their wallets. Here's the turn. The executive who built the Hellcat and the Demon left the company in 2024, right as the electric plan took hold. After a shake-up at the top, he came back, this time running all of the company's North American brands. His verdict on the strategy that buried the Demon was 2 words: anti-American. So the Hemi is being pulled back out of the ground. As of 2026, a twin-turbo 6 is holding the line, the return of the supercharged V8 has been confirmed, and a V8 Charger is on the way. The exact engine Dodge spent a fortune killing is being resurrected, most likely because the alternative was losing the last customers it had. Which puts the Demon in a strange light. It was sold to us as an ending, the last scream of a dying era. It turned out to be the opposite, not the death of the muscle car, but proof of how badly people still wanted one. Dodge just had to lose a fortune to believe its own buyers. So here's what the Demon actually teaches. And it's bigger than one car. Every few years, a company decides its most beloved product is a relic and moves to retire it ahead of the market. Sometimes they're right. The Demon is the case where they were wrong in the most expensive way possible, where the obsolete thing was the only thing keeping the lights on. Project that forward, and the interesting question isn't whether the V8 comes back. It's already coming back. The question is which other icon some executive is quietly scheduling a funeral for right now, and whether that company will need to lose a fortune to learn the same lesson. The Firebird outlived the company that killed it. The Demon outlived the strategy that replaced it. Nobody gets to decide when an icon is finished. The people who love it do. Next time on Ignition Archives, a car its own maker tried to erase from history.